Hello everyone. Today we would like to share our experience playing this war of mine. And in this game, we experienced war from the perspective of civilians, not soldiers. And we will connect our gameplay SCG to 16, which focuses on peace, justice, and strong institutions, and explain what this experience taught us about civil life in war. And as you can see, one of our first difficult decisions was stealing from an elderly couple. We knew this was morally wrong, but we needed resources to survive. And this moment shows us how quickly justice and human dignity disappear when institutions collapse. And in terms of SDG 16, this scene highlights why strong legal and social systems are necessary to protect vulnerable civilians during conflict. And in the stations, all members of the group were sick, but Bruno still went scavenging. And we made these decisions to keep the task distribution fair. And this moment shows us how civilians often ignore their own health and safety during war. And survival becomes more important than personal well-being when there is no support from institutions. And at this point, someone came to our door asking for help. However, we were starving, had been robbed before, and had a sick group member. Because of fear and lack of resources, we choose not to help. And this shows us how war breaks social trust and reduces empathy amongst civilians. And this scene was of the most disturbing moments in the game. We saw that most of the casualties were in the children's ward of the hospital. It shows us that civilians, especially children, are completely unprotected during bombings, and this strongly relates to SCG 16, which emphasized the protections of civilians and vulnerable groups. And despite being injured, Bruno went out again. And because we needed supplies, unfortunately, he died during this mission. And his death shows us how civilians are often forced to risk their lives because they have no other choice. This moment made the cost of survival very clear. And after Bruno's death, Katya and Paula were deeply affected emotionally, and they became depressed and lost their motivation to survive. And this shows us that civilians' resilience is not only physical but also psychological, where damages mental health as much as it damages bodies. And later in the game, we decided to help a person who came to our door asking for help. Bruno's that made us more emotionally sensitive. These actions shows us that even in war, civilians can still choose empathy and solidarity. And in the absence of institutions, justice can only exist through individual actions. And after losing his friend, Pablo helped a girl escape from an attacker. Although succeed, he was seriously injured. This moment showed how civilians often put themselves in danger to protect others. It reflects how moral responsibility can still exist even in extreme conditions also. Paulo later died because of his injuries. His death shows us how one act of kindness can have serious consequences during war. This reinforced our understanding how fragile civilians' life is when there is no medical support or security. Also. After the deaths of Bruno and Paule, and after being unable to cope with another robbery, and Katya committed suicide, this moment showed the full psychological destruction caused by war. And we learned that war does not only kill people physically, but also destroys hope and the will to live. Our main takeaway is that strong institutions are the only protection civilians have against these hard decisions. The game shows us that without peace, justice collapses, and civilians pay the highest price. And SDG 16 is essential because it aims to prevent exactly these situations. And thank you for listening to our presentation. This experience helped us better understand the human cost of war and the importance of peace, justice, and strong institutions.